Tales from the top flight.
That kind of sounds kind of spooky. Chris, you look kind of freaky in that thing. And how come he's got his own little graphic and none of us do?
Kiri, I'm really sorry. I can barely hear a word of what you're saying.
It's all right. None of it's any good at the moment. Don't worry, my love. Okay, Chris, can you actually hear us at all?
Yes, I can now, yeah.
Okay. All right, well, Tales from the Top Flight. This is my first time with you, Chris. Oh, it gets exciting. So where shall we start? Well, let's start with Everton versus West Ham. Crowd trouble on the weekend, of course, for crowd trouble in the week for West Ham. What do you think is going to happen against Everton?
Well, credit to the West Ham fans. They've been trying to make the London Stadium feel like a football ground. The only problem is they've been trying to make it feel like a football ground of the 1970s. So, yeah, it's a tough game, really, for Everton, because they haven't seemed to have turned it around a little bit. Bilic has found a formula, and away he goes.
What did you make of the crowd trouble against Chelsea? Do you think we had some guests on yesterday who said that West Ham had blown it all out, fans had been blown all out of proportion?
I think the pictures kind of speak for themselves, really. I mean, look, I haven't seen enough of it to really have a fully informed opinion other than just making a few wisecracks about it. But, I mean, I think even if the pictures are anything like that, you'd prefer not to see that in the grounds nowadays, especially if you're looking at it from West Ham's point of view, it being a beautiful, corporate, child-friendly arena. Probably best not to have the blokes sort of thumping seven shades out of each other.
Brilliant, yeah. And I think some of the arrests that were made were on some very, very random charges that I've never heard in football grounds before. OK, let's move on to Chelsea, Southampton versus Chelsea. Chelsea, of course, coming off the back of that really disappointing loss, but then a great win the weekend previous.
Yeah, I mean, JT returns for Chelsea in the week and they lose, having looked really rock solid for the last few games. So was that a coincidence, I wonder? Southampton are looking really, really good at the moment under Puel. They're playing some very good football. As I say, every time I mention Southampton, I tipped him to get the sack first of all the Premier League managers, which shows what I know. I think Southampton, actually, at their place might do well here, and Chelsea will probably be happy with a point.
OK. OK, what did you make of their loss? Do you think it was John Terry? It can't be John Terry, but it was a random loss against West Ham.
Realistically, I think Chelsea are looking at getting their European spot back, but probably not by winning, well, definitely not by winning the League Cup now, but certainly not with the intention of winning the League Cup in the first place. They've got bigger fish to fry, like quite a few of the sides. Terry in a back three, though. Louise in there with him, that's going to cause them problems.
OK, Man United versus Burnley. I think that hopefully that should be an easy one for Mourinho. He darn well needs it, doesn't he?
Well, things are looking up for Jose, aren't they, all of a sudden? First, he finally gets that 1-0 win he's been trying to get for the last few games. I mean, third time lucky and all that. But better than that, it was against Pep. And even better than that, there's some crazy transfer talk going around that Inter Milan might be prepared to take Wayne Rooney off his hands. Now, if he can find anyone willing to pay the money to get rid of Rooney, I'm sure he'll be absolutely delighted. But also, AC Milan are interested in Depay. So there could be some good transfer money coming in for Mourinho at the end of it. Incidentally, the defender Bailly picked up quite a bad knock in the game against City in the week, and looks like he might be out until Christmas. Which, bearing in mind he was the one defender who looked like he might know what he was doing in the United back four recently, that could be a little bit of a blow for Jose.
Well, in other news, it looks like Everton are happy to take Rooney if they want him.
Yeah, I think that might be for a few shirt sales more than actually thinking he can add anything to their team. Lukaku will soon get a little bit annoyed if he's not getting the ball off him.
OK, West Brom versus Man City. It's all sort of falling apart a little bit for City at the moment.
Well, yes and no. I mean, first of all, the West Brom fans are absolutely over the moon that Pulis has agreed another one-year extension to his deal for the Albion, which means they get another year of only seeing their team score from set pieces. Pep says he needs a little bit more time to adapt to the rigours of the English Premier League, having a few weeks ago saying, look, I'm used to intense football in Spain and Germany. So Pep's kind of backtracking a little bit there. But he's actually come out and said that West Brom are a very, very special side. I don't know if he was doing the little inverted speech commas when he said special, because we all know a few people are a little bit special like that.
Okay, now does Aguero look injured? He doesn't look right at the moment.
Aguero, he's come back from international football, having missed a penalty for Argentina, and he looks like a completely different player. Ranieri made a comment a couple of weeks ago for Leicester when Okazaki comes back from international duty. Ranieri reckons he sent his brother back in his place. Maybe something like that's going on with Aguero, because he certainly doesn't look like the same player as he did before the international break. And to make it even worse for Kuhn, there's now links with him and Spurs, which is really going to damage his morale further.
Okay, so moving on, Stoke and Swansea. Why on earth do you think Stoke are such slow starters?
I'm not enough of an expert to be able to explain that. All I know is that Mark Hughes likes going to buy players that would have been really good on Football Manager 2009 and trying to turn them into a half-decent team again, paying extortionate wages and trying to get them to play really good football. It's not what the Stoke fans want. It's not what the Stoke fans are used to. But it's a tough game for Stoke and Swansea in many ways. Glenn Johnson, though, what a week for Glenn Johnson. He's been linked to Barcelona, of all places, which has got to be the craziest transfer rumour of
I think that might be a misprint.
It's got to be, hasn't it? I mean, I think Barcelona have given up chasing Bellerin because nobody can catch him. And they're going after Glenn Johnson. He's been recalled to the England squad this year. And then also Barca want him. And he must feel like it's 2006 or something.
His PR machine's just working real hard. Okay, any thoughts on Bob Bradley?
Bob Bradley, he hasn't really done much since I last spoke about him. I'll be interested to see his attire at the weekend and if he's going to continue with this consistent theme of a black polo neck.
Okay, interesting. Good to know you're worried about clothing as well. Now, Middlesbrough and Bournemouth.
I have absolutely nothing to say about that game. Bournemouth will look very, very pretty in spells. Borough won't, and there might be some goals in it, but there probably won't be.
Okay, and we've got some Arsenal fans on the sofa. So, Arsenal-Sunderland.
Well, to be honest, I've got more to say about Sunderland than Arsenal in this one, because the FA have charged David Moyes with misconduct, and I'm presuming that's misconduct of a football club. Life's so good for Sunderland at the moment. They couldn't even get home after the Southampton game because it was too foggy to take off. I mean, they're from Sunderland. They must be used to that. Newcastle have actually won a Premier League game more recently than Sunderland, which is a lovely thing for the Sunderland fans to be thinking about. But you can't really look much further than Arsenal for this one, though it is the kind of game that traditionally they might struggle with. Arsenal seems to think that or between 82 and 86 points will be enough for them to win the title this year. So who knows?
Now, what about Ryan Giggs out for the running of the Wigan job? What do you make of that?
Sorry, Kiri, say that again.
Ryan Giggs for the Wigan job. What do you make of that?
Ha! Brilliant. Yeah, Giggs. I'm so glad you brought him up. He was in the Mirror today saying how he would beat Jurgen Klopp's gegenpressing given half a chance.
Yeah, he
I
could
don't know
have
if
been
he was
drinking
actually
again.
talking to himself in the mirror or it was the newspaper. But if he takes the Wigan job, pretty sure he's never going to get to put that theory to the test.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Chris, for taking the time to talk to us. Everyone's absolutely loved your insights. So we will catch up with you. Well, I think Toby will probably catch up with you. This may be the first and the last time we do this, Chris, so just remember this moment for a second. Thank you so much.
It's been memorable. Thank you.
Take care.